He began every morning the same way. Before the dispatches arrived, before the senators required his attention, before the weight of empire pressed down on the day, he wrote, not strategy, not policy, not the business of governance. He wrote to himself, about himself, against himself, when necessary. The first book of his meditations begins not with philosophy, but with gratitude. From my grandfather Verus, I learned gentleness and meekness. These are his words, the first words of the meditations, not a declaration of power, not a statement of intent, a list of debts. He spends the entire first book naming the people who shaped him, his grandfather, his father, his mother, his teachers, the Emperor Hadrian, each one credited, each one thanked. For a man who held absolute power, this is a remarkable opening. He begins not by asserting what he is, but by acknowledging what he was given. From my father, I learned modesty and manliness. From my mother, piety and beneficence, and abstinence not only from evil deeds, but even from evil thoughts. From my great-grandfather, to have had good teachers at home, and to have learned that on such things it is right to spend liberally. Read these words carefully. This is the most powerful man in the world listing his teachers, and the first lesson each one gave him was about character, not power, not strategy, not ambition, not how to win, how to be. He names his philosophy teachers with the same reverence as his family. From Rusticus, the idea of the reformation of character. From Apollonius, moral freedom, certainty of purpose, and to look to nothing else, even for a moment, but to reason. From Sextus, a benevolent disposition, the example of a household governed by its master without either bustle or sloth. He is building something in this first book, not an argument, not a philosophy, a foundation. He is reminding himself, before anything else, who taught him to be good. What makes this so striking is what it tells us about how he understood himself. Marcus Aurelius was not a self-made man. He knew that. He refused to pretend otherwise. Every virtue he possessed, every quality that made him, in the judgment of history, one of the finest rulers who ever lived, he traced back to someone else. The patience to a teacher, the discipline to his father's example, the capacity for stillness to a philosopher he studied as a young man. Gratitude for Marcus Aurelius was not a feeling. It was a practice, a daily accounting, a refusal to forget what you owe. He ends Book 1 with a passage about providence, about the good fortune of his birth, the family he was given, the teachers who found him, the time and place he happened to exist. None of it was earned, all of it was given. And his response to that, the response of a man who could have taken credit for all of it, was simply to say thank you to the universe, to the people who shaped him, to the gods he was not certain he believed in. Thank you. I did not deserve this. I will try to be worthy of it. 2,000 years later, the first lesson of the Meditations remains the same. Before you consider what you want, before you assess what you lack, before you measure what remains to be done, name what you were given. Name who gave it. Begin there.